Feel like lucid be my dreams. Said you love me, so I'm sure you know the means. It's like I'm living all inside a movie in a dream. Sequels to my life entirely up to me. Slowly suffocating, do you notice how it feels? Baby, can you help me while I'm running through the field? Like hills that have the eye, but I do not think they see me. Even if they do, then I guess gon' have to kill me.
I'm trying to like lock in, you know?
The Cursed Royal Wedding. The wedding of Prince Amadeo of Savoy and Maria Vittoria dal Pozzo is known for a series of crazy events, so much so that many people now see it as one of the most cursed royal weddings in history, and you'll soon see why. From the start, things went wrong. As the wedding group left the palace and began walking toward the church, a colonel on horseback was leading the way, but the weather was extremely hot, and the colonel collapsed from sunstroke and died. Someone else quickly took his place, and the group continued, but when they reached the palace gates, they couldn't open them. It turned out the gatekeeper had suddenly died.
What the fuck? Nigga, if I'm at my wedding, nigga, and 2 niggas just immediately die, I'm calling that shit off.
With these disturbing signs, the wedding continued. After the ceremony, the group went to the train station to take the bridal train, but the officer who had written the marriage contract collapsed from a stroke and died. Right after that, the station master was killed when he accidentally fell under the bridal carriage.
Yo, 4 niggas die? I'm 20 minutes into my wedding, I'm leaving, bro.
Disasters didn't stop there. As the group started going back to the palace, yet another tragedy occurred. The Count of Castiglione, who was riding a horse beside the carriage, was pulled under its wheels and killed. The goalkeeper interviewed.
What the fuck? Nah, that's... I don't know, bro. How did their marriage end up, bro? Because that seemed like that was a sign or some shit.
February 2015, a famous former goalkeeper went viral after a random street interview led to an amazing coincidence. Reporters often stop people on the street to ask their opinions about past matches, but the chances of finding someone who was actually part of the story are very small. However, that's exactly what happened just before the Merseyside Derby, the football match between Liverpool and Everton. BBC reporter Stuart Flinders was out on the streets, asking people if they remembered the 1967 FA Cup match between the two teams, and while doing interviews, he spoke to an older man and asked about the game, but to his surprise, the man replied, "I do. I played in it. I was a goalkeeper for Liverpool." That man was Tommy Lawrence, who had been Liverpool's starting goalkeeper in that 1967 match. The video quickly went viral around the world. Jackie Chan and 9/11.
Okay.
In the film called Nosebleed, Jackie Chan was going to play a...
So far, though, this one isn't as crazy as part 1.
...window cleaner who worked at the World Trade Center. While doing his job, his character would discover a terrorist plot, either to destroy the Statue of Liberty or, in some versions of the story, the Twin Towers themselves.
Wow.
Filming for Nosebleed was set to start on September 11th, 2001, at the real World Trade Center. But in a crazy turn of events, production was delayed because the script wasn't finished. The crew left the location, and later that morning, the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers took place. Jackie Chan later said he realized how close he had come to being in the middle of the tragedy. He believed that if the script had been ready, he might have died that day. The 2 William Wests.
I never knew about that. I would say the more coincidence is just how crazy it is that they just happen to not have the script ready. Because, yo, I'm gonna be honest, the World Trade getting blown up, to be honest, a lot of niggas low-key predicted it, but it's because, for those of you who don't know, there had been a terrorist attack on the World Trade. Like, remember Biggie's lyric where he's like, "I'm blowing up like the World Trade," and like Biggie died before the fucking World Trade Center even like blew up. Apparently there was like a bombing there before, so it wasn't like completely out of the realm for the World Trade Center, like something that happened. So it's not that crazy about like the story being about the World Trade Center, the movie being about the World Trade Center blowing up, because like it had happened before, you know what I mean? But like, that's still fucking crazy, bro. Like, that nigga, he was on a specific day it happened, and the only reason he left was because the fucking the script wasn't ready. That's fucked.
On May 1st, 1903, an African-American man named Will West was arrested for manslaughter and taken to the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas. Like all new prisoners, the staff followed the usual steps. They took his photo, wrote down his physical description, and recorded 11 body measurements. However, something strange happened during the process. The prison clerks found that Will West already had a file in their system. According to the record, someone with the same name, the same body measurements, and a nearly identical face had already been sent to that same prison for homicide.
Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction. Twin brother.
When the clerk pulled the old file, it had a photo of a man who looked exactly like the new inmate. Will West laughed when he saw it and said the man looked just like him, but insisted he had never been to prison before. The prison staff looked more closely and were shocked to find that the man in the photo, also named William West, was still in prison in a nearby cell. They brought the 2 men together and everyone was amazed. They looked almost exactly the same, had the same name, and were now in the same prison. King Louis XVI and the number 21.
Wait, okay. I don't wanna, cause I know y'all niggas be getting mad, be pausing. Bro, so like, is there any more details about that story, nigga? Hold on, I just need to see you quickly. William West. two unrelated identical inmates that sparked the need for fingerprinting? What the fuck? So they weren't even related. They had the same name and they just look exactly like. That's fucking crazy. And they both ended up in for doing some crazy shit.
King Louis XVI of France was the last monarch before the French Revolution erupted in 1789, and as a child, he was reportedly warned by an astrologer to be especially cautious on the 21st day of each month. The king took this warning very seriously and, even as an adult, avoided conducting official business on the 21st.
He's gonna get packed on the 21st. Holy shit.
Believing it to be an unlucky day. Fast forward to June 1791, during the French Revolution, when Louis decided it was time to escape the capital. The plan was carefully arranged. They would leave Paris and head for a royal stronghold. But there was something peculiar. Louis chose to flee on June 21st, the date he had spent his life avoiding. The escape failed.
Wow, so your whole life, you fucking avoid the 21st, but you decide to escape when niggas are trying to fucking kill you that day. That's crazy.
The royal couple was recognized and captured about 150 miles from Paris. Then, on September 21st, 1792, exactly 1 year and 3 months later, the National Assembly formally abolished the monarchy. France was declared a republic, and King Louis XVI lost his title, his power, and eventually, his life. Tutankhamun's cursed trumpets.
I feel like that can kind of be. I feel like that nigga low-key manifested that shit though. He was always shook at the 21st. Low-key manifested that shit.
Really strange pattern that seems to repeat around the ancient trumpets discovered in the tomb of Tutankhamun, the Egyptian pharaoh, so much so that they're said to be cursed. After being found by British archaeologist Howard Carter, the trumpets were placed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where they remained untouched for 17 years, but that changed in 1939, when the BBC asked Egyptian authorities for permission to play one of the trumpets live on the radio. The event was broadcast to about 150 million listeners, with a musician playing the trumpet in a studio. Just a few months later, on September 1st, World War II began. At the time, basically no one saw any connection between the trumpet and the outbreak of war, since the two events were months apart, but that would soon change. After that, the trumpets stayed in the museum and weren't played for nearly 30 years. That changed in 1967, when a museum staff member played one of the trumpets again. A few days later, the Six-Day War broke out between Egypt and Israel. Then in 1990, one of the trumpets was played once more, and on August 2nd of that year, the Gulf War began. By this point, some began to believe there was a connection between the trumpets and these catastrophic wars. In 2011, the trumpet was played again, and just days later on January 25th, the Egyptian Revolution started. There's no scientific evidence linking the sound of the trumpets to the start of these wars, of course, but the repeated timing has led
That's fucking crazy though. Yo, imagine a nigga just grabbed a trumpet, just start playing that bitch every single day. That nigga trying to end the fucking world, bro. Yo, leave that trumpet the fuck alone. What the fuck?
Any to believe in a connection. Today, both instruments are stored at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo and are not expected to be played again. Steve Jobs' biological father. After his adoptive mother passed away in 1986, Steve Jobs began searching for his biological family. He eventually found his sister and mother, but he didn't know that he had already crossed paths with his father years earlier. Steve used to frequently visit a Syrian restaurant owned by Abdel Fattah Jandali, who, by coincidence, turned out to be his father.
Wow.
Neither of them knew they were related at the time, until 2006, when Jandali discovered the truth. He chose not to contact Jobs, fearing he might be seen as someone looking for money, so despite this unexpected connection.
To be honest, I mean, that's kind of some real nigga shit. I mean, no, it's not. It's not. Because I feel like he should have contacted him like, hey, I'm your dad. I just realized this recently, da-da-da. I don't want nothing from you. I just wanted to, like, let you know so it's not something that's, like, in the back of your mind or anything. Like, I would have did that. But damn, it must be a bitch to see your son get rich as fuck. And you could have fucking been eating with that nigga, but you didn't raise him and shit.
The two never got to know each other. The presidential bloodline.
Wait,
Almost 6, when Jandali discovered the truth. He chose not to contact Jobs, fearing he might be seen as someone looking for money. So despite this unexpected connection, the two never got to know each other. The presidential bloodline. Almost all U.S. presidents share one strange thing in common. In 2012, a 12-year-old girl from California began researching her family's French ancestry, but got curious and decided to study the bloodlines of American presidents instead. Her grandfather, who had years of experience in genealogy, helped her with the research. They started with George Washington and traced both male and female lines of ancestry, and what they found was surprising. Washington was related to King John of England, the same king who signed the Magna Carta, the famous document that limited the king's powers. This connection had never been made before, because most genealogists only followed male bloodlines and had only connected 22 presidents to their roots. But this girl discovered that every U.S. president, except for one, Martin Van Buren, the 8th president, was related to King John. Van Buren's family was traced back to the Netherlands instead. Napoleon's coronation balloon.
Wow.
In 1804, Napoleon...
Have y'all ever been curious to, like, go back and look at your bloodline? Like, yo, what if you go and you actually look at your bloodline, you're, like, related to, like, fucking, like I be kind of curious about that shit, but like I never want to do it because I don't want niggas having my DNA and all type of weird shit. But like, yo, imagine like you do your bloodline shit and you're like related to a celebrity like right now. You just have no idea. Like that nigga's like your second, third cousin or some fuckery. Like, what if you're fucking just related to like fucking like Pop Smoke or some shit? You just have no fucking clue. I be wondering that because, bro, I have a big ass fucking family. And there's a lot of Jamaican. Actually, there's no way to actually know though, because like with black people, most black people in America, they actually don't know where they're from. Like they just say I'm African American. So a lot of motherfuckers could like I'm Jamaican. A lot of motherfuckers could be Jamaican. They don't even know. But yeah, like I have a big ass family. I be thinking, yo, I could be related to so many niggas and I don't even know.
Napoleon was preparing for his coronation as Emperor of France. He hired a French balloon maker named André Garnerin to create a massive balloon for the event, decorated like a crown with lights and symbols to mark Napoleon's rise to power. Garnerin followed the instructions and launched the balloon during the ceremony. It floated up and disappeared normally, and most people probably forgot about it right after, but the balloon ended up somewhere unexpected. It drifted all the way to Rome and Italy, and eventually landed in Lake Bracciano. The crazy thing, however, is that before it touched down, it passed by and got caught on Nero's tomb. The crown decorations fell off and landed directly on the tomb. When Napoleon heard about this, he was furious. He didn't want to be compared to Nero, the Roman emperor who was known as one of the worst in history. He saw it as a bad sign and blamed Garnerin for the incident. As a result, he fired the ballooner and never used balloons in his military campaigns again. The unsinkable
I thought you were about to say he executed that nigga. I'm like, yo, you're bogus as fuck.
Arthur John Priest is known as the unsinkable stoker because he managed to survive not one, but 4 ship sinkings and 6 accidents in total. His first known accident at sea happened on the RMS Asturias. During its first journey after being built, the ship collided with another vessel. Thankfully, there were no casualties, but it was still a serious incident. Arthur was later assigned to the RMS Olympic, the largest passenger ship in the world at the time. In 1911, the Olympic collided with the British warship HMS Hawke. The crash tore a large hole in the side of the Olympic, but the ship managed to return to port. Arthur survived the event without injury, although the damage to the ship was pretty bad and repairs took months. In 1912, despite already being involved in 2 collisions at sea, Arthur accepted a position on the RMS Titanic, which promised a higher pay. On April 14th of that year, the ship struck an iceberg and famously sank. Arthur was deep in the engine rooms when the collision occurred, and he fought his way to the upper decks before jumping into the freezing water. He was later pulled into a lifeboat and survived, while more than 1,500 others lost their lives in the disaster. When World War I broke out, Arthur continued
Bro, what is wrong with niggas, bro? Bro, as a person, you have to understand when to give some shit up, bro. Like, nigga, say I get into like 12 car accidents, nigga. I'm gonna get that shit up, bro. I'm taking the bus, bro. I'm taking the train, bro. Like, nigga, why you keep... Yo, what the f... I'm not about to get on a plane, 2 plane crashes, and then... I mean, not plane. 2 fucking boat accidents, and then get on a third one where 1,500 niggas die, and then hop on another one after that. That's fucking, like, stupid as fuck.
He served on the HMS Alcantara, an armed merchant cruiser, but on February 29, 1916, while patrolling the North Sea, the Alcantara encountered the Grafe, a German raider disguised as a merchant ship. Once the Alcantara got close, the Grafe revealed its hidden guns and opened fire.
If this nigga survived this, bro, they had to have started looking into this nigga, bro. I'm gonna be honest. If he survived this shit, they have to look into this nigga, bro.
A battle followed, resulting in the destruction of both ships, but Arthur once again survived.
This nigga's doing an inside job, bro. He doing an inside job, bro.
After abandoning ship and being rescued from the cold waters.
This nigga...
Later that same year...
There's no fucking way... Yo, this nigga, he's a spy, bro.
He joined the crew of the HMHS Britannic, a hospital ship and sister to the Titanic. On November 21st, 1916, just months after his previous accident with the Alcantara, the ship struck a German sea mine. The explosion was powerful, and the ship sank in less than an hour. Arthur managed to survive yet again, although 30 people lost their lives in that sinking. In 1917, Arthur began working on the another hospital ship that carried soldiers across the English Channel. And on April 17th, the ship was torpedoed by a German U-boat. It sank quickly, and 40 people died. But Arthur escaped one more time. After that one, Arthur retired from maritime.
Thank you, nigga.
If you like this...
Like, what the fuck? Nigga, you have to know when to hang that shit the fuck up, bro. Bro. Is that Arthur? Yeah, I'm not getting on that shit. On God, like, yo, you have to know when to hang that shit up. Yeah, nah, that nigga, I don't know, bro. You have to know when to hang that shit the fuck up. That nigga surviving 100. Nah, bro, that's crazy.
Something, baby, I like just how you blushing. And maybe we could bust it at the function. Turn nothing to something. Wish you could just see the horrors of my life may upbring.